Hi, welcome to another edition of North Shore Journal. I'm your host, Walt Kosmowski, and I've got a very special show for you today, and I would like to introduce my three guests. And over on my far right, I have Lynn Polanin, and Lynn is the choral director, is that what your official title is, of the Beverly High School, here at Beverly High School, and we'll be talking a little bit about some of your activities during the course of this program. And I have Mary Beckman, and Mary and her husband own and run a local business that's called Custom Medicine Pharma Center. Is that
That's
correct?
Yep.
But we're not going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about some of the activities that you have been involved with the school. And finally, on my immediate right, I have Deb Debski. And actually, this program, Deb is actually the subject of this program, and her story will be something that we'll bring out during the course of the interview. So I'd like to start off by asking each of you in turn, and I'll start off with you, Lynn, to kind of give us an idea of your relationship with Deb, with Mary, how this relationship started, and what the nature of that is, okay?
So I met both Mary and Deb actually through their children. They were parent volunteers, and they came on board to help with costuming for the musical. Their kids have all since left and graduated, and they still stay behind. And during all these years, we've just been through a lot together and just really become extremely close friends with all the hours that we've put in, and then with the hours celebrating afterwards.
Those aren't as tough hours, are they? The celebration.
No, those are the good breaths that we take when it's all complete.
Well, we'll let you take a breath right now. So, Mary, what you want to add to that? Tell us about your relationship with Deb and with Lynn.
As Lynn said, we met through our kids participating in the music department at BHS. So, Deb and I are two of the costume sort of creators and coordinators for the musicals every year. So when you spend hundreds of hours with somebody helping to design and sew costumes and fit them to the children and so forth, you end up spending a lot of time also talking about your lives. So Deb and I have had mutual support for each other for our health concerns over the last few years. So when her situation became a little bit more critical, I was sort of the hands behind her back, really pushing her a little bit to reach out to the community and get some support outside of her family for a little bit more help than her family could provide.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful having friends like these?
It is, right? And so she knows me so well.
So Deb, now from your point of view, tell us about your relationship working with these two ladies.
Well, I had been volunteering at Memorial and Briscoe schools, and when my children were moving up to the high school, I was like a crazy lady finding out this woman here, searching her out and saying, I gotta help with the musical. And she's like, okay, lunatic, calm down. So that's how we became involved, and I was a member of BUMPA, the Music Parents Association that we have, and throughout the years just doing the costuming. And first I started with set design and really loved the costuming aspect. And when things got a little tough, fortunately Mary Beckman was coming up through the ranks. And she took over so much of my load. It was really wonderful.
Well, let's talk about that, and I will tell our audience that that Deb has been diagnosed with a very rare autoimmune disease, and we're going to be talking about that. Right now, I want to have our audience look at a little 3-minute video that Lynn put together that kind of talks about this relationship and visually shows the love and the support that you three give each other. So I'd like our control room to play that video right now.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. Ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew,
Looks can be deceiving. Deb Debski, someone who gives so much to the Beverly community, is currently battling primary sclerosing cholangitis, a rare autoimmune liver disease.
I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My head is on
As of August, Deb Debski has been given 18 months to live unless she gets a living liver donor now.
when we both get older, with walking canes and hair of gray. We'll have no fear, even though it's hard to hear. I will stand real close and say, thank you for being a friend. Oh, thank you for being a friend. Yeah, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Oh, let me tell you about a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Yeah, thank you for being a friend. And when we die and float away into the night, the Milky Way, you'll hear me call as we ascend. I'll say your name, then once again, thank you for being a friend. Oh yeah. Ooh.
Well, Deb, that smiling face in the video certainly belies the seriousness of your condition, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit right now. So maybe you could, for the benefit of our audience, we mentioned that you have a autoimmune disease, which is a fairly rare one, the type that you have, and I'm going to pronounce it here, primary sclerosing cholangitis.
Very good.
So
Yes.
tell us exactly what is primary sclerosing cholangitis and how rare is it?
Sure. The disease itself is 1 in 100,000 people develop this illness, and it is an autoimmune disease where the body basically attacks itself, tissue or whatever. Something sends a crazy signal, and your body thinks that it's something's wrong and it's trying to correct it, when in fact it's actually damaging the organ. And in my case, it's my liver is continually being damaged. With each cholangitis attack I have, more of the liver dies off.
Now, how long ago did you become aware of it? What kind of symptoms did you have? How did it get diagnosed?
So about 7 years ago, I started with some nausea, a little discomfort, no big deal, stress of life, you know.
Sure.
That's what I chalked it up to. And then 6 years ago, it was just a little too persistent. So I did a little digging with my gastroenterologist, and unfortunately he found that this is the illness I have. I remember I kept calling his office and he wasn't available, and I was jokingly saying to the nurses, I'm starting to write my obituary, ladies. What's going on here? I need to hear from the doctor. Little did I know, there was a little bit of truth in that. The doctor finally did call me at about 6:15 one morning. My husband was still home, and I was barely awake for this news. So when he told me of the illness, I said, wait, you can't live without a liver. And the pregnant pause.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
So what kind of prognosis, Deb, did the doctors give you at that time?
Usually it's 12 years from discovery of the illness.
Okay.
For me, we've accelerated that just a bit because I just always want to finish first. I'm at 6 years into the illness, and things have really taken a turn for the worse.
Now, you've had multiple hospitalizations since the time it was first discovered?
Yes.
Yeah. And how long typically is this length of your stay?
About 5 days, and normally I go home. I have to go home now with a PICC line, which is a direct line into towards the heart that I can take IV antibiotics because I've exhausted everything that I can take orally, and I'm running out of antibiotics that can effectively treat this, which is our other concern.
And on a daily basis, how does this affect your body? How does this affect your daily life as you go through the routine of your day?
Well, my normal is a certain level of nausea. You know, if I don't wake up with that, I'd be real surprised. But I'm nauseous, I'm very fatigued. Sometimes I'm running a low-grade temp. Just not quite all there. You know, it is a bit difficult. The energy level is lacking.
Well, let me ask these two ladies now. So, what was your reaction when Deb came to you with the news? And of course, you could see on the video the love that the three of you share, and all the work that you do, and the fun you have doing it. So, how did that kind of affect that? Maybe Mary, do you wanna?
Well, as I said, Deb and I both have pretty significant health issues. So she told me only because her fatigue was starting to get pretty severe, and it was when we were working on the musical. So she was sort of telling me a little bit begrudgingly, because she's a very private person, which is why I know this is difficult for her. But it was really, what can I do to help? So I knew she was very passionate about all the work she does, all the volunteering she does, and it was very difficult for her to give any of it up, even a little bit. So that was really my reaction, is what can I do?
Lynn, any comment on that?
I remember when she told me, she called me up and said, I just need somebody to talk to. Can you come over? It was in the summertime. It was in between productions, and I sat down in the backyard, and she said, I just found out that I have this disease, and I'm beside myself, and I don't know what to do. And I think I just said, you're not alone, and we'll get through this together, and we'll make a plan.
Wonderful to have such friends, isn't it?
It is.
Now, as we sit here today, the doctors have given you about 1.5 years, 18 months, they say, without...
In April.
Okay, so let's I should have probably said before that. Right now, you need a liver transplant. That's what your situation is now. So
Yes.
Deb does need a liver transplant. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that specifically in your case, but we're going to show another video here that was not produced by you, but this was produced by the hospital. Is that correct, Beth Israel Hospital? Or
no,
this was produced by you
me.
as well? Ah, okay. Well, I apologize.
Yeah, no, I did the research that I needed to do to
Okay.
make the video. We gathered information from the Beth Israel, where Deb is currently a patient, and where the transplant hopefully will happen.
So now that we've uncovered your situation, we want our audience, our viewers, to be aware of what the situation of a transplant, how it affects people, and what the kind of the nationwide availability and wait, and what people go through that are waiting for a transplant situation. So I'll have our control room run that video right now.
Most liver transplant cases utilize livers from deceased organ donors. Each person in need of a liver registers on the National Organ Transplant Waiting List.
Liver transplantation is unique compared to other types of transplants in that patients who are on the wait list for liver transplants don't have any alternate forms of therapy. So people in respiratory failure can have ventilators, people in renal failure can have dialysis machines, people in heart failure can have mechanical pumps. But the reality for a liver patient is that they either get a transplant or will die waiting for a transplant.
Nearly 16,000 people are currently registered on the National Transplant List for a cadaver liver in the United States. The average wait time for a liver to become available is 361 days. Deb Debsky is in end-stage liver failure. As of August 1st, she has been given 18 months to live. She could die waiting without your help. Donors should be between the ages of 18 and 55, should be in excellent health, should have blood type B positive, B negative, or O, and ideally be a non-smoker. Donors should not have high blood pressure, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, and they must have an intact gallbladder. The surgery requires general anesthesia and a large abdominal incision. Living liver donor operations involve removal of the full left lobe or a portion of the larger right lobe. A segment of the liver will be dissected out, the cut surfaces will be cauterized, and the segment will be removed for transplantation. The surgery lasts approximately 4 to 6 hours. At the end, you will be closed with internal sutures and externally with steri-strips, tape, or glue.
The liver is a wonderful organ and is a unique organ in terms of solid organs in that it can grow back. And once a portion of liver is resected, almost immediately, within hours, the liver starts to regenerate. And in 2 to 3 weeks, that regeneration is very brisk and rapid. And by 6 to 8 weeks, most of that regeneration is complete. And definitely by 3 months, the liver is back to its normal size. The hospital recovery time for donors is, in general, about a week. It takes about 7 days for donors to be up and around and comfortable with oral pain medication, to have return of bowel function to the point where they're eating and hydrating well. We make sure there are no problems with the incision or any infections that may come up. And that usually takes about a week. How long the donor can go back to work varies, depending on what the donor does. In general, it takes usually at least 4 weeks for donors to be to the point where they can go back to work essentially no matter what they do. If their work involves more rigorous activity or is more stressful, then that may be longer, 6 weeks, potentially 8 weeks before they're fully back to work. From the workup and evaluation for donation, through the surgery and through the post-op care after donation, that is covered by the recipient's insurance. If problems are found or new medical problems are discovered during the evaluation process that don't have anything to do with donation, or if the donor doesn't go on to donate, the costs of having those problems evaluated may potentially not be covered. But in general, all costs that are associated with donation are covered by the recipient's insurance.
To me, it made sense to do it because the alternative was, my father being on a donor list or waiting for a donor. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, he could still be on a donor list now if we hadn't done it. And then, his health would have probably deteriorated even more and more.
The entire transplant team, the doctors and nurses, the anesthesiologists, the social workers, kind of get invited into this incredible, special moment in somebody's life where through the gift of another person, another life has been saved.
The liver, it regenerates itself, so why not give to somebody that can use it when it's gonna regrow and you're gonna have a full one again.
People with liver disease are in a desperate situation. There are no other cures for end-stage liver disease. There are no drugs or machines, and so really it's only liver transplantation. And a living donor liver transplant is a way that these patients can get this life-saving cure.
Need more information? For confidential answers to some of your questions, contact Teresa, our local nurse liaison. Teresa at helpgivelifetodeb.com. Ready now to make the commitment for pre-screening? Contact Denise Morin, Liver Transplant Coordinator at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. There are highly respected liver transplantation programs started in 1983 and provides hope to those with end-stage liver diseases. Maybe you could be the one to help give life to Deb. Thank you for considering becoming a living donor. Even if you're not able to be a donor, there are other ways to help. For more information or to learn more about Deb's story, go to helpgivelifetodeb.com.
So Deb, at the very end of that video, what did it say on that pink T-shirt of yours? Do you remember what did that say?
Yes, banding by Bonder.
Banding by, now, you'll have to explain that.
Yes, one of my doctors is Dr. Bonder, and there's a procedure I have to go through that bans varices that develop, which are enlarged blood vessels.
Oh, okay.
So I surprised him with that shirt.
Okay. Now, I think that there's some very interesting statistics and facts in that video, and I just want to call those out because I think that will put Deb's condition in a little bit more perspective, and maybe you ladies can comment on that. Now, there apparently, from what it said in the video, there's a national register list of people that are looking for cadaver liver transplant, and there's 16,000 roughly people that are actively waiting for those transplants. So there's a lot of people out there that have a condition which would necessitate a transplant. And now we have to say, we mentioned before, Deb, that you've been given 18 months now. So you actually you're in dire need of a transplant.
Yes, I am.
And that fact, they say that wait is 361 days, which is on average, which is about a year. But that doesn't apply to you because you need a live liver donor, not
Correct.
You cannot take. So can you tell us about that and kind of put that in perspective for us?
Yes. There's a scoring system that's used called the MELD score. It's model end-stage liver disease. A group of doctors came up and decided this is how we need to accurately measure everyone and their needs. Unfortunately, for a disease like primary sclerosing cholangitis and a few others like that, it really is skewed against those because what needs to go haywire doesn't happen until I'm almost gone. And by that point in time, I would not be healthy enough to survive a transplant. So, that being said, the doctors have found that with all of my hospitalizations, I do indeed qualify for a transplant, but not a cadaver. It would have to be a live donor.
A live donor, okay. And that's, of course,
and
one
that's why.
Right. Now, so given that and the situation, you two ladies sprung into action, and so tell us what you've done here now for your friend Deb.
Well, we've launched the Help Give Life to Deb campaign,
okay,
which we're basically trying to get as many people on board to volunteer to help in several different ways. The first way is to just donate time. Volunteer for one of our fundraising events or volunteer to spread the word. The second way is to actually make a monetary donation.
Right.
When Deb has her surgery, not if. When she has her surgery, the costs of medications afterwards while she's recovering could be upwards of $5,000 a month.
Right.
That insurance doesn't cover, so we need people to make donations to help with that.
Okay.
And then the last part of our mission is to try to help her find a living donor.
Okay, so we have been showing while you've been speaking on our viewing audience has seen the help and the give and life to the appropriate people, the appropriate contact information, and the website is helpgivelifetodeb.com. And what can people find on that website, Mary?
The website was really developed to try to help tell Deb's story, so it gives a lot more insight on Deb's condition and her kind of the gravity of what we need. It allows people to donate. We have a lovely donate button that people can go in and click, and it goes right to our donation management site, which is fully vetted so that all of the donations are tax deductible, and it's a special account just for Deb's medical expenses, and these folks really specialize in that. So that was a great opportunity for us to use our website to go to those donations. And it also is going to be posting events that we have coming up, because our Village of Volunteers that we're continuing to build is putting fundraising events and awareness events together, so that list is on there. And then, of course, the link to our Facebook page. We want everybody to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/helpgivelifetodeb.
Okay.
So all of the information about what's happening is on the website.
Okay. And I like you said that you've created a village of people to help. And so what kind of areas and what specifically are they involved in, and what can people volunteer for?
We have a variety of teams, and actually Deb's friends and colleagues have stepped up. So there's a number of us besides Lynn and myself who are heading up teams for public relations, for events, fundraising idea development, for social media ideas and contributions, marketing development, getting other speakers and things to help educate us on how to do excellent fundraising. So there's a variety of different teams that people can see what they're good at, what they think they can make the biggest contribution for, and then get in touch with us, and then we can figure out what team's going to be good for you.
Well, this is so wonderful, and I can't help but think, Deb, that with the support system that you have here, and with these wonderful, lovely ladies that are behind you, that the outcome will be positive, and I wish you absolutely the best in that. And any closing thoughts, ladies? We have about a minute left.
Well,
blank stare.
Well, I would say, I mean, with the three of us who've worked on so many musical productions with literally 100 students in the cast, and coordinating, all the choreography that Lynn does, and all of the development and all the costume designing that Deb does, and the coordination, this is a big project for us. And I kid with Deb every once in a while, because I say, everybody says you look good, but on the inside, it's not such a great picture. So she is our project, because we love her so much that we have to really get as much energy behind this and help as we can to really help save Deb's life.
That's so well said. Well, I want to thank you, ladies. Lynn Polanin from the Beverly High School, Mary Beckman, great friend, and Deb Debski. And I want to remind our audience of the email, of the websites, and please get involved with the Help Make Life for
Help
give
Life for
to
Deb. And so thank you for watching, and this is Walt Kosmowski. We'll see you next time.